Steve, let me just start with a dumb question, but we're buds, so it's a personal question. How are you doing, man?
I'm a little humiliated, but I'm okay.
What went on there for the last, 5 hours?
Yeah, well, starting at 7 o'clock this morning, they took me in, they processed me, put me in cuffs. That was the FBI, and then they put me in a car in cuffs and drove me to the courthouse, handed me over to the U.S. Marshals, who then put me in leg chains. The only thing that didn't happen that I was expecting was an orange jumpsuit. All I had to do was surrender my necktie and my belt and my shoelaces, and otherwise I was able to wear my clothes. But I did get to sport some leg chains for several hours.
I've not had a chance to read the charges, but looking at our mutual friend and colleague Sarah Gonzalez's feed, it appears that they're charging you with entering restricted grounds, disorderly conduct, parading, and picketing in the Capitol. Is that accurate? Are those the charges they gave you this morning?
Yeah, those are the charges. Is my behavior, or is that accurate? Was that my behavior? No. And, of course, we have the video to prove that.
I assume were you able to communicate that to them, either yourself or your attorney, during the 5 hours you were
no.
there this morning?
No, that wasn't the purpose of this hearing today. This was just for me to accept the charges, to agree to all of the circumstances and the restrictions that I'm faced with going forward, and making sure that I just understand the law and how it pertains to this situation. And obviously, I'm essentially on probation right now while I'm not being detained. So anything I do can be used against me in a court of law, as they say. Fortunately, I don't have a gag order on me.
That was my next question.
I do not have a restricted travel. Yeah, I don't have restricted travel to D.C., which is highly unusual, because that's what they do to 100% of the January 6th defendants, is they restrict their travel to D.C., but they did not, and I think that they didn't want that battle. I think they know that because that's where I do most of my work, that this was something that they didn't want to, take a PR bloody nose on.
I saw our editor, Matthew Peterson, share on X or Twitter about an hour ago that the Blaze is poised to release footage that directly contradicts the charges against you. Did I see that correctly?
You did see that correctly. This is the tough part, and this is one of the things that's really difficult for anybody to understand unless they're following these trials and these cases, is that the charging documents and what they call the statements of facts are presented as a narrative from the government side, and it's usually 5, 6, 10 times worse than actually what the behavior of the defendant was, whether it was a misdemeanor or a felony. I mean, obviously, if you're swinging a baseball bat at a cop, whatever else they said doesn't matter. But if you're a person, like for instance, they're saying that I picketed and I paraded through the Capitol. Well, that did not happen. They said that I was disruptive in using abusive language. That did not happen. The only thing that they say in the statement of facts is what they have done to all of these, and I think I've even told you this before, is all of these trials are about scary words. All of this is about the suppression of speech and basically teaching those of us on the right side of the political spectrum what we can and cannot say and what is allowed. And so they are literally in the charging documents using words that I said before or after against me, not my behavior inside the Capitol.
Words after, you mean like editorial or political commentary? They're using that against you. Is that what you're alluding to?
Absolutely, 100%.
Wow. You never think this stuff's going to happen to you.
That's exactly. No, you don't. And this is the message that they're trying to send, is that this can happen to any of us. Mm-hmm. If we don't say the right things, if we don't restrict our speech, if we don't limit our speech in the manner in which they dictate, then this can happen to you, just as it's happening to me right now.
Steve, what was it like sitting in there, and you're sitting there in Dallas, Texas. You're in the heart of Texas, a place that a lot of people think is kind of one of the last outpost Valhallas of Americana. And you're sitting there knowing that we are sitting on this footage that would exonerate you against their charges. And you're looking at people that go to the same McDonald's you do, the same Chick-fil-A you do, the same movie theater you do, drive the same streets you do, root for the same ball clubs you do. And you're looking at them, but they're treating you like you are another, like you are worthy of. You're not. There is no e pluribus unum here. It dies at the door, right? I mean, sitting there for 5 hours, looking around at your fellow countrymen, and just looking at their countenances and their behavior as they're doing this to you. What was that like? What crossed your mind?
Yeah. All of this has crossed my mind in the last 5 hours. I mean, especially after I had the opportunity to read the charging documents myself and to see what was going to be said, because, see, I know how this works. I've read hundreds of these J6 charging documents, and I know from experience how overly exaggerated they are, how distorted the narrative is from the government on these charging documents. But the problem is half of the country doesn't care. The other half are influenced by it still. I mean, it's going to color the way they think about somebody that has those types of things said about them. True or untrue, colored, uncolored, exaggerated or not, people are still going to believe a modicum even of that and think about you differently. So yeah, those, I walked out of the building today and, Matt looked at me and asked me how I was. I said, I'm more worried about how you are than I am. How do you feel right now?
What's this been like on a personal level for your family? Just your daily life. You've had this sort of Damocles over you for months now, right?
Yeah, 2.5 years. And so my kids are good. You ask me what it's like to go out into the world, the Chick-fil-A's and have the perception of other people and wondering what it was about you. There's only two people on this planet that I care about what they think about me, and it's the two people that I brought into this world. And my son and my daughter are proud of me, and they're behind me.
Goes for all of us here as well, Steve. God bless you, brother. And we got your back. You let us know, or our audience know, whatever we can do, whatever they can do, do not hesitate to ask, okay?
Thank you, Steve. Really appreciate that.
You got it, man. God bless.